Roth here of RotoGrinders, and today we're going to talk about the RG Discord. If you're not a member, you should be. It is a fantastic community and resource that RotoGrinders provides, and it's easy to join as well. All you have to do is click the Discord icon on RotoGrinders or go to rotogrinders.com/Discord. From there, you'll either sign up if you're new to RG, or if you're already a member, just click the link at the top to go to the sign-in page. Once you've logged into your RG account, you can be taken to Discord to log in there. Once you've connected those accounts, you won't have to leave the server. You can freely close out and reopen Discord without ever having to reconnect. The idea of Discord might be a little bit daunting to you, but it's actually pretty simple to navigate. Whether you're on mobile or desktop, the far left side will show you the Discord servers that you've already joined. Then next to that, you'll see the channels within that Discord. We have both free channels like Chiefs Prop Shop and our daily sport channels, and we also have premium channels like Blender's Game Theory or the Crunch Time channels. Premium members can see the difference between the free and premium channels by looking for a padlock icon next to the premium channel names. We also have a few pointers for new and experienced users alike. If you're having trouble finding a channel, make sure that you haven't collapsed the section that the channel is in. Collapsing a channel will only allow it to appear when there are unread messages in that channel. Also, we find that using the actual Discord program works better than opening it in a browser like Safari or Chrome. Lastly, if you're having trouble with one of our tools, your RotoGrinders account, or any other technical needs, you can hop in our feedback and help section of channels to get help from one of our wonderful support and moderation team members. If you have any more questions, feel free to reach out on Twitter @RotoGrinders or email support@rotogrinders.com. See you in Discord.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Crunch Time on this nice Saturday afternoon. I'm Britt Devine, joined by my man Andre and my man TJ. I guess TJ, I'll start with you, dude. What's going on? Nice shirt you're rocking today.
Thank you so much. Brand new shirts from our website, agentsofandom.com. And yeah, doing well. We got a fun little slate today. Hosted my first ever Grinders live for Dean, who's away at the Naked HD retreat right now. And yeah, had a good time doing it. I got to admit, I think it went well, but I gained some new respect for how difficult Dean's job is and how damn good he is at it.
Yeah, hosting, I much prefer the analyst role compared to hosting a show. I'll tell you that one for sure. Andre, what's up, dude?
What's going on? Yeah, I mean, I've hosted on weekends before, and it doesn't seem not that bad. So, but I guess maybe it's different during the week. So maybe I'm gonna have to give it a shot one time.
The Grinders live is like 4 hours long or something?
I'd way rather host Crunch Time than Grinders live, just because that's the biggest thing. Like, I realized we were already going position through position. We're on second base and there's 40 minutes left in the show. Yeah. And I'm just like, well, damn, I got to start going on some tangents. I got to start making up some things to say, because like we're just talking baseball this whole time and it's going way too quick.
Yeah, we all know Mean Dean's mustache, right? That he likes to talk about random things. So he is the perfect host for the Long Grinders Live. But I wanna jump into today's slate, because we got 9 games, and TJ mentioned they all start like right at lock, basically 4:05 to 4:10. So there's going to be a lot of action. I want to kick it off with cash games. Me and Andre are going to basically handle that, and I'll start on our sponsor FanDuel. If you guys are in a sports betting state and you have not tried the FanDuel Sportsbook, you can get an up to $1,000 risk-free bet. I've got some bets I've made on FanDuel specifically today. I'll throw them out as the show goes along. But you got one pitcher on FanDuel today, cash games. Up at the top, I think there's not much of a case on FanDuel for the cheaper guys. Andre, you've got Brandon Woodruff and Framber Valdez, who is going to eat up, 90% of the cash game ownership today, if not more. The question is, which one of the two do you think deserves to be the guy we should play?
The guy that I think deserves to be played out in cash is definitely Brandon Woodruff today. Just because of the matchup against Pittsburgh prevents a great opportunity for strikeouts, even though they have been hitting a little bit better lately. But Brandon Woodruff has looked like I put in my article today that Brandon Woodruff has looked good in his first two games back off the IL, especially in one of them coming against Pittsburgh, where he had, I believe, 9 or 8 strikeouts, if I'm correct. And today, this Pittsburgh lineup presents a 23.2% strikeout rate overall as a whole, with a lot of lefties, and he strikes out lefties at like 43%. So that's a high significant strikeout rate that he has against lefties here. So to me, it's lineup that I thought they were going to have. And to me, like, this is a golden opportunity to just play him in cash and don't look back.
Yeah, I like Woodruff, and I have laddered. I got better odds on his actual strikeout prop, but on FanDuel, I bet the 8+, the 9+, and the 10 strikeouts today, because I just think he can mow down Pittsburgh. You mentioned he's been great since he's come back in the past 2 games. I'm all aboard. I think he is your cash game pitcher on FanDuel as well. On DraftKings, I think you can play Woodruff and Valdez. Talk to me a little bit about Valdez. Andre, do you prefer him at 9,700? Because I think you can also make a case Carrasco at 7,500 is too cheap if you wanted to get an extra bat or 2 in there. I'm definitely playing Woodruff. So is it Valdez or Carrasco are probably the 2 I'm debating about right now.
Yeah, that's just the kind of tough choice I was even having today. Like, even if you're making like GPPs today, even because both those pitchers I love as far as Valdez and Carrasco, and I think one can obviously outperform the other. I think though Valdez has a better matchup against Oakland today, so I would my lean will go more towards him. And he's been pretty okay in his last good, like against the Angels he had 13 strikeouts, Mets got 5 obviously, but the Yankees it was 7 strikeouts, and I believe that was not the no-hitter that he had.
And the Yankees get almost no hit, it seems like once a week now.
Yeah, exactly. So but yeah, so for me, it would be Valdez for sure. But it was really close for me deciding that because Carrasco, I think, has a great opportunity here against Miami to get a good amount of strikeouts. But either one you can't go wrong with. But I would lean more towards Valdez right now because the match against Oakland.
That's exactly my thoughts as well. So you've summed it up. I don't know if I really have to do any more analysis on the cash game side. Before we get to TJ, we're at 18 likes. TJ, what's the number for the Spidey Bomb today?
It's a weekend. We are always wanting to be nice on the weekend. We got almost 150 people watching. We got to get 50 for the 50. Spidey Bomb today, and it's been hot. We got 2 days in a row. Spidey Bomb hitting. Carson Kelly followed by who was it last night that got it? Matt Carpenter.
All right, so a couple more likes are rocketing up. After me and Andre talk cash games, if you had to choose Woodruff or Valdez for tournaments today, TJ, is it one or the other? Is it both? Do you prefer one? How are you breaking that down at the top before you get to the rest of the pitchers?
Yeah, so on FanDuel specifically, it's Woodruff for me, even in tournaments. I'm really trying right now. I'm only playing one lineup, and the biggest thing I'm trying to decide is, do I want to eat the chalk with Woodruff and put a random one off in the last spot of my lineup that I don't really love? Or do I want to complete the stack that I do really like and sacrifice a pitcher? Go to one of these other guys here, but Woodruff is really the guy I want to end up with. I just feel like he has by far the highest ceiling on this slate. If we head over to Plate IQ and we look at Woodruff's numbers, like, it's bonkers how reverse splitsy he's been this season. Like, in his career, he always has been. He's always struck out more lefties than righties. He's got a 6% higher strikeout rate to left-handed batters. This year so far, obviously, it's not a huge sample size, 103 plate appearances to lefties, 123 to righties, but pretty even both ways. He's got a 21.1% strikeout rate to right-handed batters and a 44% strikeout rate to left-handed batters. And they got 6 left-handed batters in the lineup today, Pittsburgh does. Only 3 righties. The only 3 righties in the lineup are Hayes, Newman, and Castillo. So Castillo hits lefties well, not righties so much. Newman, you're not worried about. and Cabrian Hayes is the only one you'd potentially be worried about. But again, he hasn't hit righties this year either, and he struck out 27% of the time. So to me, Woodruff is just miles away the top option, especially on FanDuel, where the strikeouts are worth more, and he's 900 cheaper than Valdez. On DraftKings, it's a little bit closer because you get that discount on Valdez, and then you get a huge discount to Sandoval and Carrasco. But I do think today that I'm just willing to eat the chalk on pitching because the top options really are the top options. This isn't like yesterday where I felt like Giolito and Snell were going heavily over owned and I was willing to take a shot on basically any of the other top 8 to 10 options. I don't feel that way today. I am much more confident sticking with the top pitching options.
Yeah, DK, Carrasco, Sandoval, are those your 3 and 4? Who would you rather pitch between those two?
In a vacuum, it would be Carrasco. I just want to take a peek at ownership here, see what the difference is between them. Just over 20.
Cardi's got a 2-1 Carrasco.
Then in tournaments, I think I'd rather go Sandoval. I'd go Carrasco in cash, Sandoval in tournaments. The difference between them just isn't that big. Like we're projecting them on with our RG projections on less than a point difference. Baltimore, we've seen how good of a pitcher's park it's been this year. I would go Sandoval.
All right, and then the best of the rest. I mean, there's plenty of options down here today. You could give me like 2 names you think of the rest that you think would be good targets today.
So for tournaments, the next 2 guys that I would be looking at would probably be Hunter Green, just because we've seen what he can do with strikeouts, even though he gets hit really hard. Tampa's going to pick up some ownership as a stack, so I'd go Hunter Green, and then as well as Dean Kramer. He's not picking up any ownership. He's looked pretty good this year. The Angels have the highest strikeout rate in the league. Obviously, we're worried about Ohtani, Ward, and Trout, but the Angels still strike out a ton, and so Kramer and Green would be the 2 I'd go to, just because they got very low downsides, but they got very high upsides as well. I'd also be interested if you're not wanting to take on that much risk tolerance. The next guy I'd want to go to would be Tristan McKenzie.
All right. If any of you guys want to ask any questions about other pitchers, feel free to get them in, and we'll try to get those during the rest of the show. All right, let's go to offense real quick. The lay of the land, TJ, and offense for tournaments. There's a lot of games out here going, 9 of them, I believe, or 10. What do you think is going to be popular? What are the teams you're targeting? Do you have a team that's maybe a little bit of a sleeper today?
Yeah, so the top 2 offenses on the board for me are going to be Tampa Bay and Atlanta. Tampa Bay is nice because you can save some salary with them, and I think they're probably the best value stack on the board. And so both of those teams are picking up quite a bit of ownership as well. So the next 2 teams I'd be looking to in terms of pivots would be Houston as well as Cleveland. Jose Ramirez is probably, especially on DraftKings where he's so cheap, he's probably my top hitter on the board. It's just so close between Trout, Acuna, and Jose Ramirez. But Atlanta, Houston, Cleveland, and Tampa Bay would be the top 4 for me. Next one on the board would probably be Arizona.
All right. And Andre, you got maybe a sleeper offense people could target today?
Yeah, like this was tough for me today. There's a lot of, I think all these teams have a great chance to like be the top stack today. But personally, like I really like Houston's matchup today against Logue. I don't think they're coming up probably a little bit under owned, just compared to the other teams that I think that shouldn't be up there. But another team I also am looking at a lot going against that no one is really targeting is Texas against Smelter. So like those are like my 2 like really big sleeper teams. Obviously, like there's a couple other teams that I do like today, a lot in between there. But those are the 2 top teams that I would be looking at to get a lot of exposure to, and go with. Obviously, Atlanta is another good team too as well.
All right, I'm going to go catcher real quick, lay of the land. I'm going to skip you, Andre, on this one. So on FanDuel, if you need a catcher, maybe Mitch Garver. On DraftKings, you can, your cash game catchers probably Carson Kelly hitting leadoff for the Diamondbacks. He's 2,600. You agree with both of those, Andre?
Yes.
All right, so we'll skip. That's basically your catcher roundup for cash games. Tournaments, TJ, you got any specific? If everyone's going to be playing Kelly because he's super cheap, and there's another couple cheap catchers too, What would, is spending up something you're looking to do, or would you probably just go with the field down there at the bottom?
There has, I don't think, ever been chalk I've been more willing to eat than a $2,600 Carson Kelly leading off against the lefty.
Yeah,
That's really all it is for me. If I would just so rarely would I want to get over the field on batters that are that heavily owned. But if I was playing 150 on DraftKings today, I might walk in Carson Kelly.
Oh, right. DeGrom is going to be pitching for Syracuse possibly on Thursday. I might have to go see that game if I can, as long as if that's a home game. That just came across my screen, so that'll be interesting if that's a home game. Anyway, first base cash games. A couple different ways you can do this. You can spend up like on DK, Andre Otani, super expensive. And then you've got like Olson's lefty. Alonso is someone I like. He's 5,500. But I've gone to like G-Man Choi, he's 3,700. And this Reds game, it's an old folklore in RotoGrinders history. If you look at the humidity in Cincinnati, it's the misty dawns. There's lots of home runs, it seems like, when the humidity in Cincinnati gets real high. And that's what's happening today. And, we know Green can give it up to both sides of the plate here. So I was kind of looking at Choi on DraftKings today.
Yeah, and that's a good option. I think in either side, honestly, in the cash games, you want to go with that, or like I said, Matt Olson today, or Christian Walker should be one of your top 3 options today. I don't mind those at all in cash at all. Otani would probably be the 4th one out there for me, just because, like I said, the prices is too high. Like, I'm not a price guy personally, but if you are a price guy, 6'4" is a lot to pay for Otani, but he's been proven why he's great at that price today, and it's a good matchup for him.
Tournaments at first base, CJ, what are you doing? I don't know if there's a consensus like a must-have play today. So this would be a position if I was playing a lot of lineups, I don't know if I'd take a stand. I would just play a lot of different guys today.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I do want to say quickly, if we look at Roth's Weather Edge tool, this game has a 393 game sample size matching these current conditions in Cincinnati, and it's only a 5.4% increase in home runs. So that is still an increase with a huge sample size. So that's definitely good, but I don't think it's anything that we want to be changing our lineups too aggressively over. Having said that, Tampa Bay is still one of my favorite stacks on the slate. Another thing I want to touch on quickly before hitting first base is Andre talked about liking Tampa Bay. We were talking some prize picks earlier off air, and Andre was talking some Rangers, and we were talking some prize picks off the air. Marcus Semien, the Rangers to score, Smeltzer to do poorly. That's all something we're on board for as well. At first base today, Christian Walker is going to be my favorite play by far. He's picking up some ownership, but not a ton. And so because of that, he's going to be my top play. Matt Olson is just way too cheap on DraftKings. 4,300 is way too cheap for Matt Olson. So that would be my second favorite. But the fact that Walker is cheaper and picking up less ownership, he's just my favorite one on the board by far. I don't mind the idea of taking a shot on Jared Walsh. I like Choi as well on Fanduel when we were talking there. I mentioned that I was 300 away from the team that I really wanted, and that was away from getting Choi. I couldn't get him in there. So G-Man Choi, I do like. Somebody I didn't mention earlier at catcher on Fanduel is I think you can play Travis d'Arnaud at this position. And then for tournaments, one guy I really like as well is Pete Alonso.
One like away from the Spidey bomb. So I'm sure we will get that the next time around, TJ. So have that ready. Andre at second base, Fanduel. I found myself saving on India, hitting leadoff in Cincinnati. He's 2,400. That sort of fits what I wanted to do. I don't know if he's probably the cheapest / best leadoff hitter. You've got VR too, who's 2,200 if you really need to dumpster dive. But I found myself saving on Fanduel. And I even found myself saving on DraftKings in cash. I went almost all the way to the bottom. You've got Kennedy for Arizona. He's 2,300. You've got Taylor Walls, who's also 2,300. Walls hitting at the bottom of the lineup. if you like that game at all, for some extra offense, which I know I do, and I know the bat does. Walls looks okay. India's 3,900. I don't find myself spending at this top tier for second base today.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I mean, I'm not high. I'm personally not high on that Cincinnati Tampa Bay game, but like, don't get me wrong. Like that's a cheap price for him. And the matchup is good. I personally like going to a guy like Mlb Dfs. I believe that's how you say his name. For Houston at 2,100.
Ledmus
I led Miss Diaz. Thank you. I know
or
it's
Blue Jay.
I know you can play him in tournaments, but I think he's a good cash game play as well at that price, being 2,100 on FanDuel. Our other guys that are good, I think that are obviously going to be for cash would be like a guy like Marcus Simeon, Ketel Marte, VR as you mentioned before at 2-2. There's a lot of cheap guys today at second base that you can put in there. I would probably use that also more to like put in maybe with your stacks today, unless you have like a power one off in there that you like a lot. And DraftKings, same thing, like Taylor Walls, if you want to go that route too, at 2,300 is really cheap. Along with Ketel Marte, we see him before there too. Jose Altuve, if you want to play him in cash too, I think that position is going to be a little bit more spread out. Just because, especially more on DraftKings than on FanDuel.
Someone in YouTube want to know about the weather. Roth, he's got both Baltimore and Atlanta as yellow green. They were a little more treacherous earlier in the day. Yellow green from Roth, he seems to be like they're good. I'm not really too concerned about any weather going for these 4:00 games right now. So I didn't really mention that at the top. But I know earlier in the day it was more of a concern than it is right now. So all's clear on the weather front, in my opinion. Second base tournaments, TJ, let's try to make it quick here. We're running a little short on time.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. You punt here. If up top on FanDuel, you can go to Ketel Marte 3,100. I think that's totally okay. India 24. I like just trying to fill out my stack regardless of who the player is. Taylor Walls, Orlando Arcia, somebody like that. And I agree with the Ledmus Diaz call. I think that works too.
Spidey Bomb?
I'll hit it when we get to that position.
Oh, all right. I guess we're not there yet. All right. Third base, Cash Andre. Who are we looking at?
Jose Ramirez, Austin Riley, VR, his multiple position on FanDuel. Those are the top guys I would roll with. Josh Rojas is going against Freeland as well. And if you want to go on the other side of the game with the going against Chris Bumgarner, you go Chris Bryant.
Yeah, Ryan, definitely. If I'm playing on FanDuel at what 3,300, but Jose Ramirez is definitely your top target. I think on both sides today.
Yes.
Tournaments at the hot corner, TJ.
Same boat. Jose Ramirez, Austin Riley. Those two are going to be my top options. If I'm looking to take a pivot off of somebody, yep, I agree. Chris Bryant is in play on FanDuel. Let's go to the next position. I don't mind a Met stack today in tournaments, and so JD Davis is hitting fifth today. I think that's somewhat interesting, but other than that, on to the next one.
All right, shortstop Cash on DraftKings, Wander Franco, and I guess even on FanDuel, he's just a little bit too cheap. He's not having the greatest season, but I know he's a pretty good hitter. And we know Green's definitely giving it up to righties this year. He's my main target on both sides today.
Yeah, and yeah, I agree with you on that one. Just can't get around it. The price is really good on FanDuel with 3-1. So Wander Franco, Swanson, those are like the two guys I would say would be good to use in cash. If you want to go with Marcelo Dubon, you can do that too as well.
Tournaments, TJ?
Wander Franco is today's Spidey bomb.
I like it. Yeah, I like it.
I feel very good about Franco today. And this is a position as well. I think you can kind of get a bunch of different guys in there because second base has been gross. Third base is very tight. But here at short, like you have Swanson, Lindor, Seager, Adames, Correa, Bobby Witt Jr. Every single one of those guys is a good play, whether in a stack or as part of a one-off. So this is a pretty strong position today. Wander Franco might be the chalkiest guy there next to Swanson, but still we're not having to worry about the ownership too much there. So those are my top 2 plays, but you can really differentiate anywhere here. Taking it to, because I'm feeling good and it's a weekend, Franco's somewhat chalky, we're going to give a 2-for-1 Spidey bomb today. The next guy is in the outfield. He's a little less chalky. He's my favorite tournament salary saver on the entire slate today. Franmil Reyes is going to keep his hot streak going and hit another one today.
Yeah, he's on fire. When he gets streaky too, he was had a horrible start to the season, and he seems to have gotten it figured out. I like him, probably not in cash, but he's definitely a very viable tournament play. So I like that, TJ. As far as cash goes today in the outfield, Andre, I'll pose this to you. You got, let's say, just enough money for one of the top players today. Who's it going to be?
Mike Trout.
I'm looking between, basically to me, it comes down to Acuna or Trout.
And it's Mike Trout all day.
You got Trout. I don't know. I'm leaning Acuna today, maybe.
I mean, I get it. I get it. Corbin's bad, but Creamer's bad, just as bad as well. And
Creamer's low key.
Creamer's been good.
He's not bad.
I know
Corbin's sneakily throwing the ball harder than he has in many years right now.
I just think though Trout has Trout started the season really bad in my opinion, and he's starting to get see the ball to me a lot better, hitting the ball a lot better too. I know he's had a little bit he's had a couple great games the past couple weeks. Some also in between that weren't that good, but I think Trout just overall is just a better hitter right now, and better hitter overall. But right now, I just think Trout has it today. It was tough, honestly, because I really wanted to go with Ronald Acuna. I think you're splitting hairs. You're not wrong with either one, but I'm just going to roll with Trout.
You can play both on FanDuel. How about that? You can make that work on DraftKings. It's a little tougher, so you pretty much got to pick one of them. A couple other guys you might want to look at. So we've got Josh Lowe leading off for Tampa Bay. Way too cheap both sites. He's probably one of your number 1 salary savers. Does have a little bit of pinch hit risk probably a little later in the game, but I would expect 3 at-bats at a minimum from him. Cheap on both sites, your number 1 salary saver. What else is rounding it out for you, Andre, in the outfield today?
You go with anyone really, but I'm just gonna go back to my favorite guy. I wish he would have never signed a long-term deal with his team and would have just waited for free agency to try to go to the Yankees. But Yordan Alvarez is just a guy, he just continues to hit the ball really well.
Could you imagine how many home runs he'd hit at Yankee Stadium?
It would be ridiculous. It would be amazing. So I think Yordan and Kyle Tucker, if you want to go with them in cash, I think they're great today in the outfield. And they're going to probably be one of the highest outfielders owned today. Shohei Ohtani's had a bad option either as well.
In the if you want a couple of bets, you mentioned Mike Trout ruined that no-run first inning to me in the Baltimore Angel game yesterday, but I went back to it today. I was even money on FanDuel today. Kremer and who's going for Sandoval have both been very, very good no-run first inning pitchers. And Baltimore is one of the worst in the league at scoring in the first inning. So that was a bet I actually put in on FanDuel. And then if you're just betting in general, don't forget Scores and Odds. It is our sports betting app here at RotoGrinders. If you want, I know Andre contributes the mega parlays. If you just want to know for free what website has or what app in your state has the best line, Scores and Odds will show that to you literally for free. It doesn't even require a subscription. And then if you want the picks from Notorious in golf, right? I don't know anything about golf, but I'm glad he got me my plus 5,500 winner last week. Did you guys see Kale Spears? He won another McMansion from Notorious's picks last week. You can get access to that. All the baseball bets, Grant's home runs, all those type of things. If you want to get a subscription to that, more than worth the money for everything Scores and Odds presents you. TJ, round up tournaments in the outfield. If Trout, Acuna are popular, do you switch it up? Do you like one or the other? Are you playing there's a lot of guys in the mid-tier you can play. It's a very interesting slate in the outfield.
Yeah, it is. And so regarding the Trout Acuna argument, for me, it's Trout simply because of the price difference. They're both in great spots, but Trout, you got to pretty important discount on both sites there. And I mean, we kind of made comments about how, you know, Kramer hasn't been that bad this year. He hasn't given up as much power, but like, I think a lot of it's some luck in there. This guy's he's a perennially reverse splits guy. He has been good to lefties most of his career, striking out 24% of them, but he's never struck out right-handed batters. So Mike Trout is almost for sure going to hit a home run today. I feel like he's the top option on the board. Yordan Alvarez is interesting for tournaments. Shohei Ohtani is interesting for tournaments. Juan Soto is interesting for tournaments, but the top guys on the board up top for me are Mike Trout and Ronald Acuna Jr. Then my next favorite tournament option on FanDuel, where he's nice and cheap, is Byron Buxton, 3,700. Not picking up much ownership. I think that's a really great call. And then down cheap on you got Franmil Reyes, you got Josh Lowe, you got Jordan Luplow. All of them are pretty good options, and I think that's your top tier today.
All right. Few questions. I'm going to the RG Crunch Time channel for our premium subscribers first, and then I will go to YouTube. Achilles wanted to know FanDuel Cash Andre, Franco and Jose Ramirez, or Witt and Trout.
God, dog, that's tough. On what site?
That's FanDuel.
Go. I'm gonna have to say the first one.
I'm gonna go the first one, but I wouldn't fault you. You're right on. Either one of those is pretty spot on, Achilles.
Yeah.
Carolina wanted to know, TJ, FanDuel single entry, your favorite pitcher. Are you eating the chalk with Woodruff today?
I am. I was planning on playing one lineup. I'm going to end up playing 5 that are just like all very similar to each other with a couple differences. And I got Woodruff in all of them.
All right. NBA DFS wants to know FanDuel Cash, Marte and Franco, or India and Swanson.
First one.
I would play the first one as well. Anyone have home run calls? I don't know if I bet any home run calls straight up today. I can go to scores and odds here. I'll give you a little peek behind the scenes. Jose Ramirez, Carlucci, plus 390. That is still
I love the Jose Ramirez call. I think Mike Trout's almost for sure going to hit one.
Yeah.
Carson Kelly, and then the 2 Spidey bombs, of course, Wander Franco and Franmil Reyes.
all right. Favorite stack FanDuel single entry, TJ.
Tampa Bay.
DraftKings, Franco or Bobby Witts? I'm going to pretend that's for cash today.
Franco.
I'm taking Franco today as well. Kennedy or Walls if you're going cheap. This is from BHB. I've got Walls. I just like this Tampa Bay offense a little bit more. Walls is a little bit better of a hitter for sure than the other guy. So I'm going Walls, even though he's towards the bottom of the order today.
Oh,
I think that makes sense.
yeah, that makes sense.
Achilles, FanDuel Cash, Acuna or Jose Ramirez. This one's pretty tough. These are like my 2 favorite hitters of the day. Trout would be third.
See, all those are splitting hairs, like literally splitting hairs.
I think I'd take Jose Ramirez today.
I'm gonna say Jose as well because I think just go Jose.
I got Trout, Acuna, and Jose Ramirez on my FanDuel team. So I just got the best of everything and figured out the rest of them over there today. So that's how I went. Let's see. We're a couple minutes to lock. If you guys have any questions in YouTube, get them in the next couple of minutes. If you've got any questions in Crunch Time chat, get them. Real quick, TJ, couple people clicking around, pitching. Give me 30 seconds on pitching.
Brandon Woodruff is by far my top option on FanDuel. I feel like I basically just want to lock him in. DraftKings, it's a different story because we have a lot of guys closer together in price. I definitely still prefer Woodruff over Valdez, but Valdez is my second guy if you want to double pay up. I like Sandoval in tournaments as your SP2, but I wouldn't talk you off of Carrasco or Tristan McKenzie.
All right, couple bets.
Or even Kyle Wright.
Couple bets I made on FanDuel. I mentioned at the start of the show, Woodruff take the 8, 9, 10 strikeouts in the alt strikeouts. I like laddering him up today. I've got the no runs first innings in the Orioles game. And I got, I know you both like Marcus Semien. I got his total bases plus 105, even a little better than even money on the over 1.5 for Semyon. And I think you both would agree on that one. Let's see here. Looks like questions are about done. Correa or Franco for a FanDuel tournament today, TJ?
Franco.
Franco, we're the whole trio here. We are all in on Wander Franco today. Let's see here. Green, are you prioritizing pitchers or bats today?
Pitchers.
Yeah.
Brandon Woodruff is by far the biggest priority today. And I honestly think that Mike Trout, Ronald Acuna, and Jose Ramirez are the top batters on the board by so far today that I'd be willing, especially on DraftKings, to just go Woodruff, Acuna, Trout, and Ramirez, and then just figure the rest out later.
Yeah, we are a lock. So, right, you mix in a Carrasco, a cheap catcher, throw in another cheap player, and you can probably finagle that lineup reasonably well on DraftKings today. I think we answered most of the questions. TJ, what you got going on the rest of the day, my man?
Rest of the day, I think it's going to be decently chill. I got a meeting with agents of fandom here right after this, but then my fiance is out of town, so I think I'm just gonna relax and watch some baseball.
All right. I know, let's see, the late game crunch time, if you're playing the late slate, it's going to be STL cards with Will and Keith. So make sure to check back if you're playing the late slate. None of us will be there for that. I'm probably going to go enjoy the day. I know my wife's outside with our new son. Probably going to go do some of that. Maybe we can get in the hot tub a little later if the baby goes to sleep. So maybe we can try to figure that out. Andre, what's up with you for the rest of the day?
Sounds like you're joining Dean at the Naked HD retreat.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know about no Naked HD retreat, but I'm just doing my own thing far away from Dean.
I'll be at one of my best friends' engagement parties today, so I'll be traveling down to Jersey for that, and then just gonna relax. I'm probably gonna maybe go look at some venues, maybe for my wedding.
Well, sounds like we all got good days planned. Hope everyone out there does as well. For Andre and TJ, I'm Britt. Thanks for watching, everybody, and we out ya.